formed in the spring of 1952. The bridge consisted of 5 officers and 10 enlisted men. We reached our peak strength near the end of the Korean War. Our main responsibility was monitoring the Korean armistice and upholding regional stability throughout Northeast Asia. To place your tour into better political context, I'll now briefly review the history of the Korean Peninsula. Prior to World War II, the Japanese colonized most of the Korean Peninsula. Near the final days of the war, the Soviet Union accepted the surrender of the Japanese north of the 30th parallel, while the United States accepted the surrender of the Japanese south of the 30th parallel. The 30th parallel was never meant to be a political boundary, nor a division of country. It was merely established to designate areas of responsibility. In May of 1948, this man, Dr. Sung Moon-rhee, was elected the first president of the Republic of Korea. In September of that same year, the Soviet Union appointed this man, Kim Il-sung, to be the first premier of Communist North Korea. He reigned for approximately 46 years until his death in July of 1994, at which point his eldest son, Kim Jong-il, succeeded him in power. He reigned for approximately 16 years. This marks the first ever father-to-son succession of power in a communist country. After his death, his youngest son, Kim Jong-un, succeeded him in power. This marks the second father-to-son succession of power in a communist country. It also marks the third generation of the Kim family rule over communist North Korea. 20th June 1950, despite previous negotiations and attempts, North Korea launched a massive surprise attack. This ensuing war lasted over 3 years and cost over 2 million people their lives. Within the first month of the attack, North Korea captured most of the Korean Peninsula until the coalition forces were able to stop North Korea's advancement outside the city of Busan, at which point the United States man performed Operation Incheon Landing. The North Korean forces were pushed all the way back to Yalu River, which is the border of North Korea and China, at which point the Chinese entered the war and aided North Korea's war effort. Permanent settlement had not yet been reached until 27 July 1953. The military commanders of the United Nations Command, Korean People's Army, and Chinese People Volunteers signed an armistice or ceasefire agreement to end all the fighting. This agreement is still in effect today, and at the border between North and South Korea has remained relatively the same ever since. This white dotted line represents the military demarcation line of the MDL. Under the provisions of the ceasefire agreement, all military commanders were ordered to pull back the troops 2,000 meters from hostile contact, thus creating a 4-kilometer wide, 241-kilometer long demilitarized zone, or DMZ. The location of Seoul from the MDL. Today we're here at Camp Boniface. We're currently 400 meters away from the southern boundary of the DMZ, and 2.4 kilometers away from the MDL itself. This is the joint security area. This is the city of Kaesong. This is where all armistice talks were held prior to being moved to the joint security area of Panmunjom. Although the DMZ is one of the most militarized locations areas in the world, the MDL itself consists of no fortification. It is merely simply a series of 1,292 black and yellow panel markers that run from coast to coast, spaced at 100 and 200 meter intervals. On the southern portion, they're labeled in Korean on top and English on the bottom. On the northern portion, labeled in Korean on top and Chinese at the bottom. Within the joint security area, the MDL is more clearly defined by a series of white stakes standing at approximately 1 meter in height, spaced at 10 meter intervals, running throughout Conference Road, bisecting each building with a 17 by 5-inch concrete slab. This is the area we'll be visiting today. Once upon arriving at checkpoint 3, you'll be surrounded on 3 sides by Communist North Korea. Notice how the MDL winds its way through the middle of the DMZ and actually forms a finger inside the joint security area itself. We'll start here at Camp Boniface. We'll exit out to old highway number 1. MSR, or main supply route. For over 50 years, this is the only stretch of highway that was used to connect North and South Korea until the decision was made to open the east and west transportation corridors. However, this is still the only stretch of highway used to connect North and South Korea for all armistice-related events. South and special speed will be able to put on Creek, guard post 240. Observation post to the left, Taesong-dong and Freedom Village, Gijong-dong and Propaganda Village, Swedish Neutral Nations Supervisor Commission Camp, and the former Czech and Polish Neutral Nations Supervisor Commission Camp. I'll now highlight to you in more detail Taesong-dong and Freedom Village. The United Nations man is responsible for providing all security and civil affairs within this village. However, we carry out our responsibilities with a unique security company that guards the village 24 hours a day. During the daytime hours, they actually guard the farmers while they're working the fields, and during nighttime, they guard the village itself while the residents are asleep. They all do have more modern homes and larger allocations of farmland. However, they live under some severe restrictions. They must be in the village itself by nightfall, and in their homes with doors and windows locked by midnight. 1,800 meters across the MDL, Gijong-dong or Propaganda Village. They obtained this nickname due to an extremely large speaker system. Up until 2004, played extremely loud propaganda, 6 to 12 hours a day, could be heard here at Camp Boniface, most at night. Based on this propaganda, idolized Kim Jong-il to be a great leader and invited the residents of Kaesong-dong, as well as the rest of the public, to defect to the so-called village of paradise. However, if one was to defect there, they actually found themselves rather lonely, whereas mostly uninhabited. This is the third largest largest flag in the world. That's approximately 30 meters. This is the second of two flagpoles standing in Kaesong-dong. In 1980, the Republic of Korea donated a flagpole to Kaesong-dong that stood taller than the original flagpole in Kaesong-dong. So, North Korea quickly responded by living much better. As of today, the flagpole in Kaesong-dong stands at approximately 100 meters in height, while the flagpole in Kaesong-dong stands at approximately 160 meters in height. On the way up there, myself and Specialist B will be able to point out for you the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission camp. This delegation was charged with investigating all armistice-related violations occurring outside the DMZ or the demilitarized zone. It originally consisted of the Swiss, the Swedish, Czechoslovakians, and the Poland. However, today the Swiss and the Swedish stay year-round, while the Polish attend a biannual meeting. Once we arrive at checkpoint 3, we'll be able to see on the right the former Czech and Polish Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission camp, and see on the left the North Korea People's Peace Museum. It was built under 48 hours solely for the purpose of the signing of the armistice agreement. Also visible from checkpoint 3 is the bridge number turn. This is where Operation Big Switch and Operation Little Switch were conducted. Operation Big Switch, United Nations Command returned over 82,000 prisoners of war. Operation Little Switch, North Korea returned over, Operation Little Switch, North Korea returned over 13,000 prisoners of war. Notice how the bridge number turn lies in the southern boundary of the Joint Security Area. All the blue buildings you see belong to United Nations Command or the UNC. All the red buildings you see belong to North Korea, the KPA. Prior to 1976, this whole area was considered a neutral location, and North Korea took full advantage of this and built 4 communist guard posts in the south. United Nations Command built none in the north. Another location of checkpoint 4, how it was isolated from the rest of the Joint Security Area, and surrounded on 3 sides by communist guard posts. Soldiers working at checkpoint 3 have limited visibility of those working at checkpoint 4 due to an extremely large yellow poplar tree that once stood in this area. So, on 18th of August, 1976, United Nations Command set out a 5-man security detail, accompanied by a 12-man security detail, to form a routine tree trimming operation. Work did begin as scheduled. However, 15 minutes after beginning work, they were attacked by 20 North Korean guards. This ensuing battle lasted approximately 4 minutes. In this time, company commander Arthur Boniface and first platoon leader, First Lieutenant Mark Barrett, were brutally axed to death. As you can see here, it's rather hard to make out. It's seen fighting off several North Korean guards. Here you can clearly see the helmet of Captain Arthur Boniface, who was killed in front of his own vehicle. And here you clearly see a KPA soldier wielding an axe at a JSA soldier. This unprovoked act of violence led to a special series of meetings that basically made it so that the NDL itself separated the 2 guard forces. There are no more unprovoked acts of violence until the 23rd of November 1984, when a Soviet Union citizen on a North Korean sponsored tour defected across the NDL and attempted to make it to the free world. After he defected, he was chased by 30 North Korean guards armed with pistols and rifles and attempted to capture or kill him. The JSA Quick Reaction Team was quickly alerted. They were able to halt and outflank the North Korean main body. Within this section of within the northern section of the Sunken Gardens, there was approximately 30 North Korean guards. This firefight lasted approximately 20 minutes. North Korea had 5 men wounded and 3 men killed. The United man had 1 man wounded and 1 man killed at Pokojang. Throughout the firefight, the Soviet defector was protected and escorted back to Camp Boniface. On our trip today, we might see North Korean guards. These red armbands state that they're military police. Under the provisions of the ceasefire agreement, all armed personnel within the Joint Security Area must wear these armbands. Also, we see the North Korean guards actually not communicating in any way, verbally or non-verbally. Our next command is also responsible for providing security assistance with humanitarian operations, such as repatriation of remains from the Korean War, as well as delivery of relief to North Korea. Our next command is also responsible for providing security assistance for visiting dignitaries and heads of state, such as the former President of the United States, George W. Bush, former President of the Republic of Korea, Eamon Pak, Prime Minister of New Zealand, John Key, former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and former Secretary of Defense, Honorable Robert Gates. Such of these visiting dignitaries and heads of state, you'll be guarded by soldiers of the security battalion. The soldier you see on the right is a United States infantryman. We served 12 months here. The soldier on the left is a Republic of Korea or Iraq soldier. They served 24 months here. Each soldier must meet the above aptitude of an average soldier and must maintain a clean and civilian record. It is due to all this that we, the most fully deployed unit of the Republic of Korea, we stand face to face with our enemy on a daily basis. The Republic of Korea, United Nations Command, United States Army has given us a motto, which we so proudly state. Ladies and gentlemen, we truly are in front of them all.